Hello and welcome to the Abundantly Favored podcast, where faith meets mindset, gratitude fuels growth, and your words shape your world. We're your hosts, Jenny and Shelley, two sisters, wives, moms, and lifelong encouragers who believe God has richly equipped you to live an abundant life.
Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, faith, purpose, and the power of speaking life. Whether you're in the car, on a walk, or curled up with coffee, consider this your weekly dose of encouragement.
Abundantly favored, walking in grace, carried by mercy, held in His place. Abundantly favored, chosen and free, overflowing with love for all to see.
Good morning. We are so glad you guys are here with us. Actually, maybe it's not morning when you're listening. So how about good day?
Good day, friends.
Good day, mate.
Happy to have you.
Yes. Okay, let's dive in. Hey, maybe it'd be fun if we did a whole podcast in an accent, using an accent.
I would love that, but I tend to go in from like British to Australian to yeah. It's
same
not
thing.
flawless, but it would be fun.
Same thing. Okay, my daughter Ava, you know, she's my daughter, but
Yes.
she does the most amazing accents. It's so funny. And when she was like, I think when she was like maybe in third grade, she had her own, I was going to say language, but her own accent that she totally created. And it was
my gosh.
absolutely hilarious. And we would have like half-hour long conversations and she would not break character.
Oh my gosh.
It was
She's good.
crazy.
She
Yeah.
is good. I
Okay,
will
so
attest
let's
to that.
dive in. Let's not do an accent. Maybe a future episode we can. But so our Bible verse for today's episode is from John chapter 10, verse 10. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this episode. If you saw the title, we are talking about from scarcity to abundant mindset. And what are you focusing on? So, you know, it's definitely something that affects every one of us. The difference between living from scarcity and living from abundance. And it really is a choice, which is pretty fun if you think about it and you're aware. So, if you think about it, Jesus did not come so we could simply survive. Obviously, he wants us to be with him in heaven. He didn't come so we could spend our lives focused on what's missing. He actually came so we could experience the fullness of life that he has for us while we are still here on this earth. We've said several times before, if you're still here on this earth, God is not done with you yet. Right, Shelley?
Right. That is so true. And what's interesting is, have you ever noticed this, Jen, that two people can experience the exact same situation and walk away with completely different perspectives? Like one sees opportunity and one sees obstacles, or one notices blessings and one notices what's missing. And maybe you've even caught yourself saying things like, there's never enough time. Everyone else gets the opportunities. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm too late. I missed my chance. I don't have what it takes. If so, you're not alone. And a lot of people think that way. And it kind of reminds me of this story of there were two people who were moving to a new town, to the same town. And the first guy rolls into town and he goes to the gas station, pays for his gas. And the clerk says, well, hi there, stranger. Where did you come from? And he's like, well, I'm actually new to the area. And, I'm going to be moving here. So what can you tell me about the town? What kind of town is this? And the clerk says, well, what was your old town like? And he's like, well, they didn't keep it very clean. People were pretty negative. People would cut you off in traffic. They didn't really help each other out. It wasn't that great, honestly. And the clerk says, I see. Well, sorry to say, but that's what this town is like too. And the guy said, oh man, really? I wish I would have known that. I might not have moved here. He's like, well, good luck, sir. He drives away. Peck rigs. A second gentleman rolls into town and same thing. He's new to the area. He fills up his car with gas. He has a little spring to his step and he walks into the gas station and he says, hey, the clerk says, well, hello there, sir. You look unfamiliar. Are you from around these parts? I'm kind of making it like sound old Western, I guess, too, but
We
the
weren't gonna
saloon
do
door opened
accents.
and closed. Anyway, the guy says, "No, actually, I will be. I'm moving here from another town." And the clerk says, "Oh, really? Well, that's wonderful. Welcome." And he says, "Yeah, what kind of a town is this? What are people like here?" And he's like, "Well, what was the town like from where you came, young man?" And he's like, "Well, it was actually awesome. It was hard to leave. Everyone was friendly. It was such a clean neighborhood. There were so many things for our family to do. And so we're really going to miss it, but we're looking forward to it. What's this town like?" And the clerk says, "It's exactly what you said. It's friendly, it's clean, and it's all
Mm,
of those good things." So the point of the story is it's all about your perspective, right? If you are
mm.
looking for things to find fault with things, um, you might continue to do that unless you learn some of our tips and tricks, right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's such a
Hmm.
good story. It reminds me of from our Southwestern days when we were in sales school. Do you remember the Mort Utley pony story,
Oh,
Shelley?
yes, I do. Tell it, Jenny. It's such a
Okay,
good
well, I
one.
don't know if I'm going to tell it or you can still Google it. So if you Google
Oh,
Mort Utley pony story, and it is like an old grainy video, and it may not mean as much to you because you didn't see it when you were scared out of your mind sitting in this huge auditorium before you went out to sell books door to door.
yeah,
But the gist of it, should I tell the story or have them look it
tell
up?
it,
Or
tell it.
both? Okay.
You're going to
Okay.
torture them
So
otherwise. Yes.
it's one of my favorite ones for sure. So Mort Utley, you do have to look him up because he had this commanding voice and it was
Hmm.
so good. But his story was, hopefully I can not butcher it too much because it's been a while since I
You'll
told
do
it. But
great.
basically there were these twins. And one of the twins was super positive, super optimistic, the best outlook on life. The other twin, and these were young boys. The other twin was just very pessimistic and negative, and the mom was like, "Oh my gosh, they're twins. Like, how can they be this different?" So
Right.
she took them into a psychologist and basically said, "I need help. Like, why are my boys so different?" And so the psychologist was like, "I got you." So they took the boy that was fairly negative and put him into a room that was full of toys. And the psychologist basically said, all these toys are yours. You can play with them. You can do whatever you want. Have fun. We'll be back in a little bit. Then he took the optimist into a room, and there was this huge pile of horse manure, and said to the little boy, "Okay, this is your room. We'll come back for you, but, you know, just hang out in here, do whatever you want." So after a little bit of time passed, they went into the room where the pessimist was, and he was sitting there with his arms crossed and like just super somber and did not want to be there clearly. And the psychologist was like, "Oh my gosh, why didn't you play with the toys?" "I was afraid I was going to get hurt." "Well, there's a bicycle here. Why didn't you ride the bike?" "I was afraid I'd fall off and break my leg." Just all these negative things. So he was just like, nothing good can come of this, that kind of mentality. The
Hmm.
therapist is like, or the I don't remember if it was therapist, psychologist, whatever. The professional said to the
Hmm.
mom, "Boy, we've got some work to do with this one." Goes into the room where the optimist was. And the way Mort tells it, it's awesome. So you seriously have to go listen to this. He's like, there was horse manure everywhere. The kid was covered in it and he was flinging it, throwing it everywhere. And the psychologist is like, "What's going on here? What are you doing?" And the boy looked at him and said, "With all this horse manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." And it's
I
like,
love that story. It is so true.
yes, it's like, oh my gosh, perspective, right? And what
Yes.
are you looking for? And you guys, we've all had moments and sometimes entire seasons where our attention gets fixed on what we don't have, that
Hmm.
lack, that scarcity, what isn't happening fast enough or what's missing from our lives. But what if abundance isn't something we find? Hmm?
Mm.
What if abundance is something we learn or we notice, right? Just learn to notice that. Because really, you
Hmm.
guys, we say this all the time and it is so true. What you focus on matters. So, what you repeatedly notice shapes your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your words. And guess
Hmm.
what? Your words shape your expectations. And your expectations often shape the life that you're creating. Like you're in charge of creating that life that you want. And it stems from what you're looking for and what you're noticing. So today we're talking about how to move from that scarcity thinking, if you're someone that has that scarcity thinking, into abundance thinking, and why that shift can change literally everything. So
Right.
exciting.
You are so right, Jenny. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what even is scarcity thinking. Maybe you've heard about that before, maybe you haven't, or maybe you have a different definition for it. But basically, scarcity thinking is a belief that there just isn't enough. Maybe it's with not enough time, not enough opportunity, not enough money, not enough energy, not enough support, not enough talent, not enough you to go around. And scarcity mindset just constantly points out what is missing. And it really keeps us focused on our limitations rather than the possibilities. And so if you think back to the pony story you were saying, the kid with all the toys, even though he had everything that you would think a kid would want, he was focusing on all the reasons he shouldn't play with those toys, right? And the kid with the pony, he was thinking about all of the possibilities. There's got to be a pony in here somewhere. So, I mean, it's such a good reminder. And really, the more that we focus on the lack, the more evidence our brains are actually going to find to support that belief, right? But the
That
opposite is true too, right, Jen?
absolutely. And if you think about it, it can be scary if you are someone who focuses on lack and scarcity. It really takes me back to a few months ago when we talked about the red car principle. Do you guys remember that challenge? Or
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you remember that, Shelley. Yep.
Yes.
So, you're supposed to count how many red vehicles that you see. And since we told you to look for that, you saw them everywhere. Like I saw in my 30-minute drive, like over 150 red vehicles, which is so crazy. Not because more red vehicles appeared, because your attention changed and you were focusing on it. You guys,
Right.
that same thing happens in our lives. So if we're constantly looking for problems or disappointments or setbacks and reasons things won't work out, that's exactly what you'll continue to notice. But if you begin to look for blessings and opportunities and growth and evidence of God's goodness, you will really start seeing that everywhere too. Because truly, you guys, what we focus on matters. So you want to be focusing on those things that will bring you joy. I'll throw that out there, but also that abundance. The other thing between scarcity and abundance is, when you think about scarcity, it's like, well, there's not enough for everyone. God has so much abundance with everything. And Shelley's going to get into a little bit more about how it's not just about money, because a lot of times you
Right.
think about scarcity and lack, a lot of times that's associated with money.
It is. You're right, Jenny. So a lot of times, like you said, when people hear the word scarcity, they immediately think of their finances, possibly, right? But scarcity really can show up in a lot of different areas of your life. But scarcity, like I said, can really show up in any area of your life, like time scarcity. I just never have enough time. Opportunity scarcity, like everyone else gets the breaks. I can't find a job. I can't do this. Everybody else does. Relationship scarcity. I don't have the relationships or the supports that other people have. Maybe you even have like hope scarcity, where things just will probably never change. How many of you are stuck in a mindset loop where you just feel like this is the way things are? I'm never going to have enough money. I'm never going to have enough, friends, relationships, whatever it might be. But the thing that is so powerful is we really have got to stop accepting these as the truth, because
Oh my
it's
gosh.
not. Many of these thoughts just become so familiar in our heads that we just stop questioning them. We just think that's just how it is. And that's so not true.
That I couldn't agree more. And the thing is, as you become aware, right? It's when you hear other people say this, it will be like nails on a chalkboard. So now let's talk about what abundance really means. So abundance is not just pretending everything's perfect, right? It's
Right.
not ignoring challenges. It's not positive thinking for the sake of positive thinking. Abundance really is recognizing that God is present. He's working, he's providing for you, he's guiding, and he's blessing us, even in seasons that are not easy. So, really,
Yes.
abundance means noticing, right? Like we talked about that awareness. It is so huge. The prayers that have already been answered. Maybe it's opportunities that are already in front of you. Maybe it's growth that you've experienced. We talked about this in a couple episodes ago. Maybe it was last week. I don't remember. But, looking at the first half of the year's gone, there's still a whole half of the year left, and just focusing and noticing on what you've already experienced. Maybe you're noticing the people who support you, and the gifts that God has already given you. The blessings you've stopped seeing because they're becoming familiar. Like that's something too, when you do a gratitude list every day, every morning, every night, you stop taking those things for granted because they truly are blessings. And it's even as simple as thanks for waking me up today, God, right?
Right.
And I'm going to say this over and over again, that abundance begins with awareness. And that awareness is where every mindset shift starts.
Right. And really, if you think about Jen, there's 3 questions I want us to ask ourselves. And listeners, you do the same, please. So the first thing is, what am I focusing on? Are you spending most of your time? Are we spending most of our time focusing on what we lack or what we've been given? Okay. What you focus on grows. What you focus on grows. What you focus on grows. What you focus on grows.
Are you asking me to answer that question or
No,
not?
I'm just saying. I mean,
Okay.
you can if you want to, but
Okay. That's
I
all
just
right.
want you to, these are 3 questions, just like, what am I focusing on?
Yeah.
All
Well, the
right.
thing is, though, I do want to add something in on that because even if you think you're someone that is so focused on abundance, which I feel that I'm that way, that I do focus on abundance a lot, I still catch myself because I'm aware falling back, and it's like, oh my gosh, stop that scarcity thinking.
Right.
So that's why the awareness is so important. So the first one, what am I focusing on? The second
Yes.
one, what story am I telling myself? So the stories we repeat become the beliefs we live by, and we all have stories that we repeat. Maybe it's I never get opportunities. But if we do that, it becomes I'm learning to recognize opportunities. Maybe it's I can't do this, and that becomes God is helping me grow into this. What are some other things that you hear people say all the time with this, Shelley?
I could never do that because I live in a small town. We don't have opportunities. We don't have, oh my gosh, in today's digital age, there are a lot of really cool things people can do, start, be no matter where they live. Everything is so, you know, mobile now. You can run a business from your phone anywhere. I mean, there's so many things, or even like we had talked about before, just making a difference, being, I think in the last episode, or maybe it was even earlier this episode, talking about being impactful. And so I think we think you have to do these grand things, or you have to live somewhere where there's a lot of people that you can make an impact on, but really it starts in your own home, really. Yeah.
I think a story that people tell themselves as well that I hear a lot of times is, well, that's just my luck. And usually when they say that, it's not well, that's just my luck. Everything works
Woohoo.
out for me.
Right.
It's the negative thing. And we've talked about before that if that's something you tell yourself, your brain is trained to look for that. So
Right.
the story you're telling yourself needs to be of abundance.
I know my daughter, Hannah, I think it was, had told me she had seen somebody say that they're always saying to themselves, I am a miracle magnet. Just
Oh,
miracles flock to me. I'm a miracle magnet. And I thought, I love that. And then you just start noticing things that can only come from God that happen in your life. So start saying that I'm a miracle magnet, right?
love that one.
So the third thing that I want you to think about and ask yourself, or we do, is where is God already showing up? So look for things like maybe you got some unexpected encouragement. Maybe there was divine timing with like this couldn't have worked out any other way. It had to be God. Like our friend Terry says, it's too odd not to be God, right? Start noticing maybe open doors, small little victories, moments of peace in your life, people who have been helpful to you, any little blessing, daily blessing that you have, start noticing that and paying attention to it, because God's goodness, his true goodness, is often easier to see when we intentionally start looking for it, because it is all around us if you really stop and think about it.
Notice the good, right?
Yes.
Of course, we have another challenge for you because we love giving you challenges. Hopefully you're like, bring on that challenge. We want it. Okay, so here's our challenge. So for the next 7 days, we want you to write down 3 signs of abundance that you noticed that day. So it's kind of like a gratitude list at the end of the day, but we're focusing on abundance. So nothing huge, just evidence of God's goodness. Maybe it's a meaningful conversation that you had with someone that day. And actually, Shelley, you mentioned our friend Terry, the Too Odd Not to Be God. She has every night she writes something down, and she's started saying throughout the day, she's like, "Oh, you're going to make my journal," because
Oh,
she
right.
journals at night the things that made an impact. So maybe it's a beautiful sunset, which, oh my gosh, there can be some gorgeous sunsets, right? Maybe it's an answered prayer that's maybe just a simple prayer like, "Okay, I just washed my car, God. Please don't let it rain till I get home." I don't know. Something simple.
Right.
An encouraging text that someone sent you, which also reminds me of, we've talked about in previous episodes too. If someone comes to your mind, that's God. They put them on your heart for a reason. So you can be the person that brings abundance to their life. So send them a text, tell them you're praying for them, whatever it may be. Maybe you're going to be thankful for a moment of peace or a new opportunity, or this one is one of my favorites, a reason to laugh. Oh my gosh. You guys should hear Shelley and I when we're prepping for these podcasts, because the one that we did a few weeks ago, we had to keep starting it over because I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
We'll do a highlight blooper reel sometime.
So really, you guys, train your mind to notice abundance. So the more you look for it, the more you'll find it. So once again, that challenge for you this week, within the next 7 days, so until you listen to our podcast again, we want you to write down 3 signs of abundance that you notice that day. So every day for
Absolutely.
7 days, 3 signs of abundance. I love it.
That is for sure. And as you're doing these things, find us on social media or send us a DM and let us know how it's going. We love hearing from our listeners and learning what you're learning through our podcast. And just remember, I just want to give you this little bit of encouragement. Your circumstances might not change overnight, right? But your perspective about those circumstances can. So just, sometimes just having a different perspective can change everything. And God's abundance isn't only found in the big breakthroughs. It's often found in the day-to-day things and ordinary blessings and prayers, in growth that you're noticing, or hope, or when you realize, I have a purpose. I'm here for a reason. And I don't know about you, Jenny, but I know there are countless times throughout the day that when you really stop and pay attention to it, you realize God's really got you. I mean, like he's taking care of you, and maybe you've been surrounded by abundance all along and you just never realized it. And maybe it's time to just start noticing that.
I love that so much. So really some closing statements. So we have a challenge, and these closing statements are pretty awesome. So you're going to want to get a piece of paper and a pen, or fast forward to this part in the podcast if you have to come back to it to do this. So, it's those statements. So today I choose to notice God's goodness. So that's something you can say in the morning when you wake up, right? Today I choose to focus on what's possible. Or today I choose to see blessings instead of lack. That one will be huge for people who maybe this is the first time you're aware that, oh my gosh, I have been focusing on lack or scarcity. That's okay, because you have the power to change that with God's help. Maybe it's today I trust that God is providing exactly what I need for this season, which I love that one so much. Maybe it's today I believe there is more than enough hope, purpose, and opportunity ahead, right? Bring it on. Or maybe even today I will look for evidence of God's abundance everywhere. And really, I think when you do that, you'll stop to notice that it truly is everywhere. It doesn't matter how big or how small. If you focus on it, you'll continue to see more abundance. So we just want to remind you guys too that you are not forgotten. You're definitely not overlooked, because you're abundantly favored. Thank you,
That's
God.
right. Thank you, God. And if you found value in today's podcast, please share it with a few thousand of your friends, right? A few thousand. Share it, like it, subscribe, do all of the things. You can find us on all of the social media platforms at Abundantly Favored. And we love when we see that the impact that God is wanting us to do is rippling out to other people. So when you share it, it truly does mean a lot to us to know that people are hearing this message. So,
And
thank
we are
you.
so much more than just this podcast. So if you go to abundantlyfavored.com, you may have already said that, Shelley, but I'm going to say it again. So go to abundantlyfavored.com. We actually have a blog. You can see our book there, lots of different things. So, and also we are booking speaking engagements. So our schedule is
Yes.
actually starting to fill in, and we're so excited about that. So if you are someone who maybe organizes speakers, or you know someone who organizes speakers, I think we've got a pretty good message that God wants us to get out. So
That's right. And be on the lookout for future retreats as well.
yes,
More info on that to come.
All
That's
right.
right. Have a great week, everyone.
Goodbye.